If everything completely goes away, how do you want to be remembered?
I mean, if I die?
Everything just goes away. How would you, if you could be associated with one thing, how would you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for courage for my faith. That would be the most important thing. The most important thing is my faith in my life.
What's up, everyone? Jazz Borganzo. What's next? Your daily dose, common sense, facts, and salt. Hope you guys are feeling good today on this Monday. Been away. I was away for the this past week, North Carolina with my wife, and just get away. Get away. Recharge the batteries, come back feeling pretty good. But a monkey wrench of sorts got thrown into the mix, and that will be the dramatic and awful assassination of one Charles James Kirk, or Charlie Kirk, as we all know him. Talk about hitting you over the head like a hammer, and I mean like a ton of bricks. I went through a number of emotions, roller coaster of emotions, from just outright sadness, actually, first shock, disbelief, sadness, anger, and then, of course, where do we go from here? I didn't want to do an impromptu on my phone. I wanted to do it of course, once I got home. And it's been several days now. And for me to dredge up these memories again is very difficult. Because for someone whom I never met, who I've watched on Fox News, who I've caught a couple of his podcasts, a couple of TPUSA events, the guy came off wholesome, honest, down to earth, salt of the earth, a good egg, just an overall good guy, and a man of God on top of it. This was a man who put Christ first, middle, and last in everything that he did or spoke about, which is very hard to do in this society in 2025, very hard, especially when the slings and arrows of your enemies are coming at you left, right, and center. And sadly, they got him. A demented demon, piece of human garbage, took out, in my opinion, the best conservative voice that we've ever had since Rush Limbaugh. So look at the time frame. Look how many people we've had since Rush passed away. Hannity, Glenn Beck, Steven Crowder, Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Andrew Klavan, Alex Jones to a part, Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson, and on and on and on. But Charlie was just built different. He was just built different. When he was doing his university tours, he would take on the most vile people, the most animate, spewing venomous hatred towards him. And he smiled. And he came back with, okay, great. Thanks for attacking me, but what's your question? Over and over and over again. Not many people have that patience. Talk about having the patience of Job. That's exactly what the man had. And you had to love him for it.
The Civil Rights Act was a mistake. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so the parts of the Civil Rights Act were great, but the way it's now being implemented to force men in female bathrooms to push forward of the trans agenda, the intent of the Civil Rights Act is way beyond what it was originally authored for.
But the intent specifically originally was to...
Well, that's interesting. So the intent and the law are two different things. So the intent was noble, which was to say that no American can be not allowed into a place of business based on the color of their skin or their ethnic heritage. Totally agreement with that. Totally agreement with that. That's not what the law only did. It created a massive anti-racist DEI army that then gave us affirmative action. For example, recently Merrick Garland sued using the Civil Rights Act, saying that we cannot have voter ID in certain states because it's a violation of the Civil Rights Act. So basically what the Civil Rights Act did is that it went beyond disparate impact and then went to disparate effect. In the sense where if black Americans are not doing as well as white Americans in a certain category, you can now use the Civil Rights Act and say that's a violation of the Civil Rights Act, even though there might be other contributing factors. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's too broad, too wide, and it's now doing a lot of damage to the country. It's being used well beyond its original intent.
You said this.
I'm trying not to dredge up the feelings again because it's very difficult for me. And which is weird, which is odd, because when Donald Trump got shot, a little over a year ago, I felt anger, automatic anger. Justice must be done. They tried to take out our president, but this was different. I didn't feel sadness like this since my mom passed away, and my father passed away several years ago. So it was just a deep sense of loss and grieving for a man who I never met. Probably couldn't pick me out of a lineup, I'm not the only one. Millions across the country felt that same way, who never met the man, but yet found a deep sense of loss. So I just wanted to get my feelings out there in regards to this. I'm not going to talk about the demon who did this. I'm not going to say his name. I'm not going to give him any kind of credibility whatsoever. I know his name. I know his age. I know where he went to, how he grew up, his family, yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to go there with that. No. Been there, done that already. Nor am I going to go over the nonsense, the trash baggery, the evilness that came out just hours after the man's death, where thousands saw it, millions around the world saw it, where you had these evil demons coming out on social media, cheering, praising, celebrating, waving pom-poms, doing handstands, cartwheels in the streets of Charlie Kirk's death. And now we've seen the ramifications. Careers have been lost. Jobs have been ended. They have gotten doxxed. There's a running list right now. I think over 30,000 people who just came out and just vehemently spewed hatred on this man for nothing more than just having a debate, talking about his faith. No matter what the question was posed to him, he was always warm and gentle, and he did it with a smile. Yeah, he gets angry just like we all do, but he roasted people with humility. He roasted people with grace. He roasted people with a sense of, wow, that guy just got toasted and he didn't even know it. That's how Charlie Kirk came off, to me anyway. Because unlike me, and what I do, to me, I just go flat out for the roast and dump a truckload of salt, and I couldn't care less. Not Charlie. Everything he did it through Christ. He was the best of us. I know that's been said several times over the last 4 or 5 days, but yeah, he was. He was the best of us. In my opinion, the most powerful voice, like I said in the beginning, since Rush Limbaugh, he was a combination of Billy Graham and Rush Limbaugh. He could go either way. I mean, the man could have been an evangelist, or the man could have been president of the United States. A lot of people believe that he would have been the president of the United States in the next decade. Yeah, I could have seen that, and I would have gladly voted for him. But now, I've gone through all the emotions, emotion roller coasters. But where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? You had a man who accomplished more in 31 years than most of us would accomplish in a lifetime, several lifetimes. The man was focused since 18 years old when he created TPUSA that This is going to be a game changer. This is not going to be a flash in a pan, as Charlie said. This is going to be a movement. And a movement it will be. And it will continue to go on. His legacy will not be tarnished. His legacy will not die. So now, who's going to be the voice? Who's going to be the voice, the next Charlie Kirk? One, there is going to be no next Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk was Charlie Kirk, just like Rush Limbaugh. There was nobody to take Rush's place. Now, at the time when Rush did pass away, all the names that I mentioned prior, Dan Bongino, Steven Crowder, Glenn Beck, Steve Dace, Megyn Kelly, Tucker Carlson, all these conservative voices rose up, some who are already established, others who were new to the game. And they came up, and I think they've done Rush proud. Now, who steps in Charlie's place? I'm seeing on X. All I saw was X over the last day or so. Ben Shapiro says, I will pick up the bloody mic, quote unquote, and continue going to these colleges like Charlie did. And that's very honorable. And then you've had others who have thrown one of the most heinous names out there, Nick Fuentes, who, in my opinion, absolutely not. Absolutely not. The man has had his moments. Watch his response to Charlie Kirk's death. I think it was a few days ago on his podcast. And I watched the entire segment. And like I said, it was very strong, it was very powerful, especially how Nick Fuentes goes into vengeance mode, because that's who he is. I don't see Nick going to ABC University and sitting there with an open mic, oh, I hate your guts, you're a racist, you're a fascist pig, X, Y, and Z, and Nick going, great, but what's your question? No. I see Nick throwing the venom right back at that person. Now, sometimes people do deserve to get venom thrown at them, to get a truckload of salt dumped on them. I agree. I'm one of those. If it's something so obvious, you can't talk to these people. You can't. There's no reasoning with people like this, especially when, out of the words out of their mouth, you're Hitler, you're Satan, you're evil, you're a piece of garbage, this, that, and the other, which of course was thrown at Charlie constantly. But again, let me reiterate, everything he did with a smile. You have those who are saying, well, you know what? He's homophobic. He's transphobic. He's this phobic, that phobic. He's a fascist, this, that, and the other. But yet, cannot point one time where we heard such venomous poison come out of Charlie Kirk's mouth. Not one. And I've seen, I would say easily, hundreds of videos over the last 3 to 5 days regarding Charlie Kirk. I even started doing a little digging myself. Say, hey, you know what? Where are these? Where are these? Where is this nastiness? Where is this nastiness coming out of Charlie Kirk's mouth? I couldn't find one. Whenever he would talk about, transmentalism, as I like to call it, he did it in Christ's name. There was one I saw where he was talking with a girl who thought she was a guy, who was thinking about taking hormones and what have you, and he had a talk that a father to son would have, or to mom to a daughter would have, respectful, kind, courteous, here's why you don't do this. Here's, God loves you. This is the reason why, that you can be proud in the body that you were born in because God made you this way. That's who Charlie Kirk was. So, in closing, like I said, I didn't know the man, but I felt the love, not just from, not from others, around the country, who were sobbing and weeping and, like a family member had passed away. That's how I felt. And, I didn't know you, Charlie. I know you're up in heaven, with Jesus right now, which was your main goal from the very beginning. God bless you. God bless you, your family. You know, your wife Erica, your 2 beautiful kids. You know, I saw the memorial that that Erica gave. This you know, not a speech, but a heartfelt tribute to her husband. It was amazing. It was phenomenal. If you haven't seen it, check it out. You want to talk about a very strong woman, very powerful woman, and I can easily see her taking up the mantle from her husband and doing these kind of talks in universities around the country. I can see it. I can see it. To me, she would be the most logical choice in doing it. But things are still raw, extremely raw. And yeah, God bless their family. You know, love you, Charlie. Miss you, Charlie. And with that being said, I'm Jasper Gonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share, subscribe to it, hit that notification bell so you guys never miss a thing. Continue spreading the word about the show. Appreciate you guys watching as always. And we'll see you next time. Peace.